Protect your home and auto by bundling them with Progressive, and you'll have a little less to worry about. But we know you'll find other things to worry about. Like that text you just got from your boss. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Oh, hey, call me when you get a sec. Yeah, this is bad. Oh, well, at least you protected your home and auto with Progressive, so you don't have to worry about that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
You're listening to Pentagon plans military deployment in Chicago as Trump eyes crackdown. A news story written by Dan Lamoth and read by an AI-generated voice. The Pentagon has for weeks been planning a military deployment to Chicago as President Donald Trump says he wants to crack down on crime, homelessness, and undocumented immigration in a model that could later be used in other major cities, officials familiar with the matter said. The planning, which has not been previously disclosed, involves several options, including mobilizing at least a few thousand members of the National Guard as soon as September to what is the third most populous city in the United States. The mission, if approved, would have parallels to the polarizing and legally contested operation that Trump ordered in Los Angeles in June, when he deployed 4,000 members of the California National Guard and 700 active-duty Marines, despite the protests of state and local leaders. The use of thousands of active-duty troops in Chicago also has been discussed, but is considered less likely at this time, said two officials who, like others interviewed, spoke on the condition of anonymity because of the sensitivity of the issue. The Chicago effort would further expand Trump's use of military force domestically, even when state and local authorities call the idea unwelcome and unwarranted. Administration officials have defended such deployments, arguing that they are taking necessary steps to bring back law and order. Trump on Friday touted his ongoing National Guard intervention in D.C., where more than 2,200 Guard members have been deployed in what he has cast as an overdue effort to crack down on crime. He zeroed in on Chicago as the next target. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent, Trump said, in remarks that were immediately dismissed by Chicago's leaders as unfounded. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. The officials familiar with the matter said that a military intervention in Chicago has long been in planning, probably in conjunction with expanded operations by Immigration and Customs Enforcement to search for undocumented migrants. The deployment would come as federal authorities look for new ways to intensify the identification and deportation of undocumented immigrants, including an expansion of ICE and efforts to challenge sanctuary policies as they seek to meet a directive from White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller to make at least 3,000 arrests per day. The White House on Saturday declined to answer questions, referring instead to Trump's comments in the Oval Office on Friday. The Pentagon said in a statement that it would not speculate on future operations. The department is a planning organization and is continuously working with other agency partners on plans to protect federal assets and personnel, the statement said. The Pentagon's plans for future deployments come as the Trump administration pressures state and local leaders to allow the federal government to do more to find and deport undocumented immigrants. Attorney General Pam Bondi recently sent a letter to numerous state, county, and local leaders stating that sanctuary policies impede law enforcement and will be legally contested. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, both Democrats, hit back at Trump in comments Friday, with the governor accusing Trump of attempting to create chaos. After using Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. as his testing ground for authoritarian overreach, Trump is now openly flirting with the idea of taking over other states and cities, Pritzker said. Trump's goal is to incite fear in our communities and destabilize existing public safety efforts, all to create a justification to further abuse his power. Johnson said in a separate statement that Chicago officials take Trump's statements seriously, but that they have not received any formal communication from the Trump administration regarding additional law enforcement or military deployments in the city. We have grave concerns about the impact of any unlawful deployment of National Guard troops to the city of Chicago. The problem with the president's approach is that it is uncoordinated, uncalled for, and unsound. Pritzker said in a statement Saturday night after this story was published that the state of Illinois had received no requests or outreach from the federal government asking if we need assistance, and we have made no requests for federal intervention. He added that there is no emergency that warrants the President of the United States federalizing the Illinois National Guard, deploying the National Guard from other states, or sending active duty military within our own borders. Trump has long described major U.S. cities as lawless, Democratic-run failures, fixating on Chicago in particular. During his first presidential campaign in 2016, he called off a political rally there before he took the stage, after fights broke out between his supporters and political opponents. More recently, as Trump announced the deployment of the National Guard in D.C. on August 11th, he claimed that crime was rampant in several other cities, hinting at a playbook for federalized crackdowns. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is, Trump said. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. We're not going to let it happen. Chicago, a city of about 2.7 million people, has had the most homicides in the country in each of the past 13 years, with 573 in 2024. Like DC and many other major cities, it had a spike in homicides and other violent crime during the COVID pandemic, though rates have come down since. But several other major cities had higher homicide rates than Chicago last year, including St. Louis, Detroit, Baltimore, and DC. In the district, violent crime is down 27% over this time last year, with homicides down 11%, according to DC police data. A state's governor generally oversees his own National Guard, but the president can federalize and deploy troops over objections under Title 10 of federal law. It permits the president to issue orders to National Guard members if there is a rebellion or danger of a rebellion against the government. A president also can invoke the Insurrection Act to deploy active duty troops to perform law enforcement duties in the U.S. But such an act would be politically polarizing and trigger alarm in the Pentagon. Trump flirted with the idea in 2020 during unrest following the police murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Trump deployed both the National Guard members and a battalion of Marines in California in June, while citing incidents of violence and disorder that had occurred during ICE operations to round up undocumented immigrants. Under the law Trump used, Title 10, the troops are generally prevented from being involved in law enforcement. The California deployment was contested in court, with Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat, and other officials questioning whether Trump had violated the Posse Comitatus Act, a federal law that prohibits U.S. troops from carrying out civilian law enforcement actions. U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer ruled that Trump's orders violated the law, but his decision was halted by a 3-judge panel from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit in San Francisco. This month, Breyer oversaw a case in which California officials again contested the legality of the deployment there. Administration officials said the troops involved were not enforcing the law, but rather protecting federal buildings and law enforcement personnel. No final ruling has been issued. A couple hundred members of the California National Guard remain involved in the mission in Los Angeles. Trump has faced fewer legal challenges with his deployment of the National Guard in D.C. because the city is subject to federal oversight. As of Saturday, more than 2,200 troops from the D.C. Guard and 6 other states were involved in the mission under orders detailed by Title 32, a federal law that governors can use to deploy National Guard members in other states. Those deployments require the consent of both governors. The Pentagon said Friday that the troops in D.C. will soon be allowed to carry firearms, a change to their initial orders.
Protect your home and auto by bundling them with Progressive, and you'll have a little less to worry about. But we know you'll find other things to worry about. Like that text you just got from your boss. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Oh, hey, call me when you get a sec. Yeah, this is bad. Oh, well, at least you protected your home and auto with Progressive, so you don't have to worry about that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.